they were all Asian. And
And Jordan was like, I'm a glassy white man. One will never fall for them. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Apologetically Me. I'm Maggie.
I'm Wanda.
And we're here to talk about male and female friendships. But before we get started, Wanda, tell the people what you got going on.
So this week, I decided to go home and visit my parents. And upon coming home, a couple of hours later, my dad rats out my mom for having a cat in the basement. And for those of you who don't know, I am very allergic to cats. And when my dad told me this information, my mom was like, "Why would you say that to her? Why would you tell her? You're such a little tattletale." And just like being, I guess, mean to my dad for telling me. And I was like, "Wait a second, were you not going to tell me?" And she was like, "No, I would have." And like a really high, "I'm lying to you" voice. And I was like, "Wait, like, why would you not tell me?" And she's like, "No, no, no, don't worry. I would have told you after you came home."
What? Why?
So basically, she didn't want me not to come home. And she felt that if I knew a cat was going to be at home, that I like might make the decision not to go. Which, like, thinking back to it, I probably would have made that decision because I am pretty allergic to cats. But fortunately, the cat was locked, not locked, but it was downstairs in the basement in one room. And I Googled this. This is not cat abuse. Apparently, cats really do like small rooms and they're fully okay with living in a smaller space. In fact, they actually enjoy it. So I didn't feel too bad that the cat was down there. But that was the first time my mother tried to kill me. The second time came a few hours later when she was like coughing a lot. And I was like, "Why are you coughing so much?" And she's like, "Yeah, I just haven't been feeling really well the past few days. Like, since Monday or something, I've just been coughing quite a bit." And I was like, "Okay, um, that's concerning, but have you had a fever or a cold or like any other symptoms?" She's like, "No, I've just been coughing." I was like, "Okay, cool, whatever." And this is after she like fed me a piece of shrimp that she had like peeled with her mouth, I guess, as like a thing that parents do for their children, like a little like mama bird, baby bird
Mm-hmm.
situation. Not like, but like she didn't regurgitate. Yeah, that's a weird example. No, it wasn't that gross.
I knew she
Um,
did not regurgitate it for you.
okay, thank you. But like I was so like I already committed to that example, and then I thought about it, I reflected back on it. I was like, that's a gross example. um, the next day, she wakes up and she's not feeling great. She is starting to develop a fever. She is like, "I feel like there's pins and needles in my throat," and she is coughing a lot more. So she's not feeling great, and I was like, "Okay, I'm just gonna stay away from her. Like, maybe it's nothing." As the day progresses, her fever worsens, and she's like, "Oh my god, I feel so sick." So she didn't tell me she was sick when I came home. And when I was like, "Why didn't you tell me you were sick or like feeling not well?" She was like, "Well, you were sick last week anyway, so you probably have like the antibodies to be able to like withstand this and you wouldn't have gotten sick either." I'm like, "But you didn't know I was sick last week. You only found this out when you told me that you were sick now or like you've been coughing all week." So that was the second time she tried to kill me. But I am still here. I did not get sick. The cat did not bother me. So I guess she was unsuccessful.
Why is your mother like this? Did she just like really miss you that much? She was like, I cannot risk this.
I don't know if it was like she missed me a lot or she was like, "Wanda's not going to come home if I tell her all of these things that make coming home more, I guess, toxic." I don't know. More prone to my, maybe it was just like me coming home. Like, I don't know. I don't go home that often, but I do go home quite a bit. Like, I go home once a month. And I think that's quite a bit.
I just feel like your mother was in fact trying to kill you, and she just really did not want you to not come home. But like, you could have literally just gone home like the week afterwards or something. Like,
Yeah,
you can go home
exactly.
whenever.
Yeah, I could have went home whenever. And I was like, "Oh, like why didn't like you I could have just come home later." And she's like, "What are you going to do? Spend your time in Toronto all by yourself?"
Yes.
Because Jordan was going to like cat watch or sorry, dog watch for his mom. And I was like, "Yeah, that would have been completely fine." It like and she's like, "No, no, 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 no."
That's so silly.
Yeah, I know.
Mothers.
Sometimes my mom just like does not think straight. And the fact that she also got really mad at my dad for like telling on her and like ratting her out is very telling
Yeah,
of
that's so weird because like you would have found out either way.
mm,
Like
yeah.
that's so that's weird.
My dad went through this whole like well she would have seen the cat food in the fridge and she also would have noticed that you had to go down and feed the cat multiple times a day. My mother is the type that does not get up from her like office chair in like a work day. She like only goes down to like maybe like go to the bathroom, which is like very little throughout the day, get more water, which is also very infrequent, or like get something to eat, which is only once. So she was making like multiple trips to the basement. I'd be like, "What are you doing down there?" So the fact that she thought that I wouldn't notice is
Your mother is a character, all right.
yeah, she truly is. Anyways, what is your update this week?
My update is it's our 2-year anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you, thank you. Our anniversary plans. We actually moved it by a day because it's supposed to be the 8th, and I was like, no, I am busy on the 8th. I have to work for my mom. And the 7th works out perfectly because it's a holiday. So we can actually genuinely have our day off because me and Nick, we don't usually have day offs. But I feel like today was like a genuine day off. Like, woke up late, did whatever, walked Jackie, went to lunch, and then we'll chill again until it's time for us to go out again. And that just seems like a perfect day out. We're going to a show later.
Oh,
But
okay. I was like, you're going out for dinner, like you're
no,
going out for lunch at 3 and
no,
then dinner again.
no. I
Okay.
think we're done for meals today. We might grab a snack. I've been wanting to try juicy dumpling for a while. We might go there on the way. But yeah. So that's our anniversary. We decided not to get gifts for each other. But I think he did get me a gift. But it's like a small gift. Like he bought me an instant camera last year and we ran out of film. So then he paid for my instant film this year. She's like, "Ah, full circle."
I didn't even know you had one. I've never seen you once pull out this thing.
Well, they're really like big. Not like they're big because it's a mini camera, but it's like I don't really want to lug it everywhere.
Isn't it like one of those like Fuji cameras that are
Yeah,
like
I just like don't want to
that's
like
not
bring it
big.
everywhere. It's like too
What
big
do
for
you
my
use it
pockets.
for?
You know what I mean?
What do
I
you use it for then?
I literally just take pictures around our condo. If there's like a cute picture of Jackie or like of, of things happening around. So like if our future kids like look at this album, they'll be like, "Were you guys just at home the whole time?" And we'll be like, "Yeah." Exactly.
It looks like you have no friends.
Yeah, pretty much. We have like one picture with Nick's friends, but like the lighting was so dark so you can't even tell who they are.
Was this like when you had the Halloween party?
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah. Anyway, that's basically our update. Oh, and I feel like every year I die of some sort of stomach cause. I don't have food poisoning, I don't think, but it definitely does hit my stomach very hard, and then I'm always like, I immediately have to go home. So don't go to all you can eat places. I think that's a thing too. The older you get, you just can't go anymore. We were kind of talking about this.
Yeah, you don't really get good bang for your buck anymore.
Yeah. I mean, well, okay, we went to Del Donne the last time, and then I was like, I feel like we should have gone to an all you can eat because I ended up paying the price of an all you can eat place, and I could have eaten a bit more.
I don't feel like that place is like good for two people. Like I feel like for two people it's always like really expensive. But then again, last time we went with a big group of people, it was also very
It
expensive.
was. It
So
was like $60, I think, per person.
yeah. I don't know how it was that expensive.
I don't know either. I don't know what we did.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah.
That
But yeah, I just feel like the older we're getting, no more all you can eat places. I can't keep eating spicy foods, and I can't eat a lot of dairy. So I feel like
you
the
couldn't eat a
fun.
lot of dairy anyways.
Yeah, but now it's like if I actually eat dairy, it's like I gotta go to the bathroom. Like I can't even hide it. So, oh, and also if I eat too fast, that also affects my stomach too. I'm literally old.
Yeah,
That's
you're
gross.
27.
Ew, gross. I said that this morning to Nick, and he was like, "What? You're that old?" Because he was still
Yeah.
thinking that he's 25 and I was 26.
Yeah, I had that realization the other day too when I was having a conversation with someone and they had asked me like this was like my old manager and he was like, "Oh, like are you married?" And I was like in my head I was like that's such a weird question to ask. I'm so young and not ready for marriage. And then I was like, "Wait, I'm 25." And then afterwards I said to him I was 25 and afterwards I came back and I was like, "No, I'm not 25."
It's
And
okay. I
so,
think about that a lot too.
yeah. You are the age that my parents were pregnant with me.
Cute.
Yeah.
Gross, but cute.
Yeah. I say that to Jordan because he's turning 28 this year. And so I get to say, "Oh, you are the age when my parents had me."
But he loves that.
Yeah. And I think he's fine. I think he's fine with being older.
Hmm. You both are indifferent about kids? On the
Ooh.
no side? I can't remember.
I think yeah, I think it's a leaning to the no.
But it's like a
Like,
nice to
more,
have if you
yeah.
change your mind.
Yeah. Like, it's, there was a study apparently that was like, people who do not want kids do not regret it later in life.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah. Like some people might, like maybe one day you wake up and you're like, I should have raised a child.
That's kind of rough. Like in your 40s, you're like, I want a kid. But then it's kind of like, it's kind of dangerous to have a kid at 40.
You could adopt.
Yeah. Yeah. Surrogacy, any of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So I was telling my mom, like, 35 is like geriatric pregnancy. And then she was like, I had your brother at 35. And he was perfectly fine. And I was like, okay, well, it was still geriatric pregnancy. Like, doctors should have had to pay, like, more closer attention to you. And she was like, no, like, it's completely normal. So I was like, maybe they didn't know back then? I don't know.
Is your brother completely normal?
Physically, yes.
Yeah, health wise, yes.
Yeah. Motivational wise, I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah. It's it's always interesting when people are like, "Well, that didn't happen to me." And it's like, "Okay, well, I'm glad that didn't happen to you, but
Yeah.
also."
It doesn't dismiss that this is like a scientific thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
At least she will not care if you have kids later in life then.
Yeah. I think like we were casually talking about kids and she was like, "Oh yeah, like your age is like the normal age to have kids now. Like people start having it." And I was like, "Ew, I feel like it's still too young. It's like child teenage pregnancy." She was like, "No, no, this is like acceptable age." And I was like, "But I literally just graduated school. That means I like barely got to live my life and then I immediately have kids and have to cater to someone else. Like, what?" And she was like, "Yeah, that's very true. That's a very good point." So I'm like, "Ooh, was my mom regretting kids?"
I mean, she had your oldest brother pretty
I think at like
early.
25. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think it's just different. I think there's just more choices out there and
Yeah, that's what she was saying. She didn't have a lot of choices back then.
yeah, sad, but
Hmm.
happy for us. Thanks for paving the way.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah. Thanks, Mom.
Anyway, what's your beef or crush of the week?
So, my beef of the week, which I had told Maggie to remind me of with the word peaches. And the reason that peaches are my beef is because I saw this video of this. His name's Joshua Wiseman on YouTube, and he was making grilled peaches. And I was like, ooh, those look like such juicy peaches. I really want peaches now. And so I go to the grocery store looking for peaches. And apparently, peaches are not in season. And like, that's fully okay. Like, a lot of the fruits that we have are not always in season, but we still have access to them. I have checked so many grocery stores. Not one of them has peaches.
It's interesting. I think you're right. Now that you mention it, I can't remember seeing a single peach. And I'm like a big fruit person. And you're right, I haven't seen them. Huh.
Yep.
So canned peaches are a thing. They might not be as good, but
yeah, but what I'm really like specifically craving is the texture of like a hard peach. Like when you bite into like a hard peach, and you don't really get that with canned peaches because they've like kind of like juiced it up with syrup and they're all soft and squishy.
okay, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Hmm. Wait until the summertime.
We have freaking mangoes, but we don't have
it's mango season, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I do love mangoes though. Ooh, does he have a grilled mango video?
Probably.
Have you ever had mango sticky rice?
No, I have. Oh, yes, I have, but I don't love it.
Really?
I like the thought of it, and I see it every time I see it. I'm like, ooh, that looks really good. But then I actually eat it, and I'm like, this just feels like mango sushi on like it's like mango sushi with condensed milk.
Yeah. But you literally like the strawberry sushi.
Yeah.
You can't shame me for this. That's rice and strawberry and cream cheese.
Okay, so the difference is I would never order that if it was not an all-you-can-eat place. Like if I had to pay like $6 for it, I'm never going to pay that price. But at an all-you-can-eat, you can be more experimental. So if there was a mango sticky rice at my all-you-can-eat restaurant, then I would get it.
Okay, I guess. I mean, I don't even know if I would get it because I feel like sticky rice is so filling. But I understand what you mean. Side note, this is like a poor beef, I think. Like, you're just mad at peaches not being in season. I thought it'd be something bigger.
Like, what did you think?
I don't know. I thought it'd be like something like really big. Because I was like, oh,
like
it's a
what?
beef. You're just mad at the peach farmers. They can't help it.
But it's not just the peach. Why the fuck do we have mangoes that are like not grown in Canada and are not technically in season until May, like all year round, and we can't have a freaking peach from anywhere in the world? Like, what kind of like trade import is this? Like, I can never satisfy this craving until it's freaking July.
Where do peaches come from?
Where do peaches come from? They cannot be grown in the cold.
That would make sense.
Yeah. But I like the point that I'm the most angry about is that we have other fruits that are not in season, that are not grown locally to Ontario, and yet we can have those fruits. Why not peaches?
If you want them, you're gonna get them soon. I don't know what to tell you here. They're coming.
Let me just wait 3 months to satisfy this one craving. I'm gonna be gone by the time peaches are in season.
Have you had grilled peaches before?
No. And I don't even want them grilled. I just want a singular peach to bite into. All right. Even though you criticized my beef, what is your beef or crush of the week?
My crush is, I know a few episodes back, I criticized Daisy Jones and the Six, the show. And I was like, the cast just doesn't look even hot. Like, the show is so, like I had watched only like a couple episodes at the time. And I thought they had just like completely changed the characters so much that I didn't like it. But now that I have pushed through, I, in fact, really enjoy the show. And some of the songs are actually like really good, and I hear there's like a rumor going around that they're going to go on tour, which is very interesting because the only people I think who were playing or singing were like the two main actors, and the other people were just pretending to play instruments. So I don't know why they would be on tour, but I digress. Great show. I liked their poetic license to change it around. Like they changed it around from the book in like a positive way, I guess. And yeah, overall it was good. It was a good like feel good show, I think. Like very rock and roll. Very interesting plot lines. Overall good. My new crush. Fun fact, the main lead, Daisy Jones, she is Elvis's granddaughter.
I think I knew that.
Yeah. I was actually like,
very talented.
When I watched the Elvis movie, I was like, huh, I remember that was his granddaughter. Weird she doesn't do any singing. She decided to go into acting. And then Daisy Jones came out, and I was like, oh, so she does sing.
She was in the Elvis movie?
No, but I was like, when I finished watching the Elvis movie, I went to Wiki to like see his personal life. Because I'm a nosy Tom.
That makes sense. I don't know if I'm ever going to get around to it. The first 2 episodes didn't pull me in, so.
Yeah, like, so the part that like threw me off the most was because in the book, Daisy Jones was just like off the bat, like full of charisma, party, fun, like she was like a force to be reckoned with. And then, yeah, the first 2 episodes, she's like kind of shy, like a little bit reserved kind of thing. Like she seemed like headstrong, but she was just like reserved. And then you kind of see her come more to life and be more confident when she's with the 6. So yeah, good show. Recommend it. A lot of good shows coming out, mostly on Netflix. So sorry.
What's coming out on Netflix?
Oh, well, Love is Blind. The new episodes have dropped, and they're doing a live reunion. And then yeah, which will be really interesting because sometimes when you watch it, you're like, that makes no sense. Like, I feel like that was out of context, and it's because they like cut so much of it. So I'm excited to see what it will be like live and how many F-bombs are dropped. And even that show Beef, I know we were just talking about it. You said it looked weird, but I can't wait to watch it.
That is 2 shows.
And
one show and a movie.
That's already... No, Beef is a show.
It's a show? I thought it was a movie.
Show.
Because A24 doesn't really
right? It's their first show, I think, that I know of.
Huh. Love the Asian representation in that show, but also I watched it and it's so freaking weird that I'm like, I don't understand what the point of this is. It doesn't feel like there's a main point. It's just about getting revenge.
That's what I felt about Everything Everywhere All at Once, so...
But there was a point about it. Like it all wrapped up.
Yeah, and when you watch the movie, you haven't even watched the show yet. You only watched the trailer.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, moving on to our topic. Male and female friendships. What are they? Who are they? I don't know. I don't know what to say. Yeah, how are they?
Just go through the 5 whys and add how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess like what is your overall take on male and female friendships? Can you be friends with the opposite or the gender of interest? The opposite sex?
Yeah. I think it's like there is like yes, but then there's also this one really like interesting point that I don't know how I feel about, and it's like, imagine our relationship, like me and you, and like how we text every single day, we have a podcast together, like all these things, and I'm like, would I feel comfortable if you were a man? Like, would it be the same level of friendship if you were a man? And that's what always trips me up about this conversation.
I kind of get that. But I guess because, like, we have a very intimate friendship where it's like you're the only person I text outside of Nick and my family and Gabby, I guess. But yeah. You're like my
okay, well then
person.
That's a lot of people.
When I say text my family, I don't text them like frequently. Like when I'm thinking about something, the first person I'm like, I gotta tell Wanda.
Yeah, like it's basically like you are within like my top 3 people that I would tell news to.
Yeah.
Like my 5, but my 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I from
And
that angle I understand.
yeah. So I can't imagine it. That's the thing. Like I can't imagine if you were a man. And if it's like if you were a man, how close would like we be or would we just date? But then fundamentally, I feel like we wouldn't be compatible dating. No offense.
None taken. um, hmm. Yeah, I almost want to say so my initial gut reaction was, yeah, why can't male and females be friends? No
Mhm.
problemo. Like I have guy friends, Nick has girlfriends, like it's all it's all okay, but you're right, like I'm not as close with them as I would say I am with like my girlfriends. And so is Nick.
Mhm.
Like he's not as close with his girlfriends as he is with his guy friends. And yeah, I don't think I would be comfortable if he was like this close with them. I'd almost feel like I'm always second to them.
Yeah. And I think it's like there's a lot of situations there where it's like I think for like where I draw the line is like if you ever feel like you need to lie about talking to someone or like not be comfortable showing your messages that you have with like your friend to your partner, then that's like a little like that's very iffy. It's like, what are you hiding? And then the second thing, it's like if you ever have to lie about how often you spend time together or the things that you do or the people that you're with, like if it's just the two of you, but you're like, oh, it's a big group of people or something. Like I think that starts to be into like very dangerous territory of like maybe it's a little bit more than friendship. But yeah, like fundamentally, I don't there is like nothing wrong with it. But then it's like how close is too close?
Yeah. I remember like back in the day, someone had sent me a video where they had gone around and they like interviewed people on campus, like if it looks like girls and guys were hanging around together, they're like, do you think guys and girls can be friends? And for
Mm-hmm.
some reason, the guys would always say, no, they cannot be friends. And the girls would
Yeah.
always say, yes, of course. So maybe it's like it's different when you're single.
It shouldn't be different when you're single though, too.
Yeah, that's what I
Like
was thinking too.
it's a weird thing where it's like I'm always uncomfortable if a guy says that a guy and a girl can't be friends because then there's like a level of sexism there and like where they don't think that women are worthy of being friends, but they can only look at women as like sexual
Hmm.
people or like someone they could potentially be attracted to or not attracted to.
Yeah. When you put it like that, yeah, that Madonna complex.
Yeah. So it's very like any guy who says that makes me like almost second guess like why do you think this way kind of thing. And I know like I've seen people talk about this where it's like, oh, like text your guy friends like, hey, do you want to
Hook
hook up? Thank you. That was the word I was
up.
looking for.
Hang out.
Do yeah. I was like, it starts with an H. Like, do you want to hook up? And like 10 out of 10 times, like they're definitely going to say yes. Do you agree with that?
uh, no, but I can also say that I don't have as many guy friends. Like, I don't think, like, I always only have like one or two, like, kind of close guy friends. And now it's like gone down to one. Thanks, Prabby. Like, I'm not really like close with any other guys. And I don't think
Mhm.
I really have been, like, I don't think even when I was like single, I didn't have a lot of like close guy friends. Like, I mostly had like Prabby and like one or two guy friends that I'd like kind of talk to more. But I think, confidently say like we had no interest in each other. It was just like distance and time. We just didn't talk anymore.
Were you ever at one time attracted to your guy friends or like think that they were attractive?
No.
Hmm. Do you think it becomes more complicated when you are attracted to your friend?
Yes, but I've never been in that position, so I don't even know if I can confidently say yes. I think like you can you appreciate that they're attractive, but you still think of them as a friend?
Yeah, I think that's like fully okay because there's a lot of people where it's like you are objectively attractive, but I don't find you attractive.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
I guess the other side of that is just what if it's like you do want to hook up with a guy friend, but it's like or like a friend of particular gender that you might be interested in, does that make the friendship weird?
If you want to hook up with them and then just be friends, it's like friends with
Yeah.
benefits.
But like not a friends with benefits. What if you're just like, "Oh yeah, like I hook up with them if like they ever asked."
I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like that's kind of weird too because like whenever I have a friend, it's strictly like I see you at a platonic level. Like I cannot see you as anything more than that. Like I can't imagine like just hooking up with them when they wanted to, or like if it was like mutual kind of thing. I'd be
Mhm.
like, yeah, why not?
Okay. So, you know how like a lot of people or like not a lot, but like some relationships start out as friendships?
Yes. And for that reason, I still say I cannot see it because it's never happened to
But
me.
okay, that is fair. But let's say in this hypothetical situation that you and Nick met through Tinder, but decided to be friends. Like you went on a date, you were like, you know what, this feels more like a friendship than like anything more. And so you guys decided to stay friends. And then slowly you guys felt like there was maybe more there. Like what about that?
That
Like
sounds lovely.
do you think you'd ever like make it to the point of, oh, maybe there's something to explore here? Like maybe in the beginning we were just like wrong place, wrong time, or maybe it's just like initial impressions were off or something. But then do you think you'd ever take that next step away from friendship?
I think so. I mean, that's like the ideal scenario. Like even when I was single, I was like, you should go in like wanting to be friends first before anything. So I feel like that's the ideal scenario to be friends first and then see if like you have romantic compatibility. But
But
I don't know how you get there because I've
you
never been in
just
that
said,
situation.
but you also just said that you could never go from like looking at someone platonically to looking
Yeah,
at
but then I
someone
was only thinking
romantically.
about like my current guy friends and like girlfriends. But I was like, oh, if it was someone that I thought was attractive, I don't know, maybe.
Okay, so like if off the bat you found them attractive, but then when you got to know them a bit more, you're like, maybe more friendship, but
Hmm.
then maybe later point in time, you're like, maybe something more there, but only if you found them attractive in the first place.
I think so. I think you have to find them attractive. Not in the
What
first
if,
place, but maybe over time you're like, oh, over time they've gotten really good looking to me.
but going back to your whole like platonic
Well,
thing.
I don't know. I know everything I'm saying is counter, is like conflicting, but yeah. I don't know. Tell me your thoughts
On which point?
on literally everything you just asked me.
I don't. Okay.
The first part, like, can friends become lovers?
Oh yeah. I think that is the basis of a good relationship.
I agree.
What was the second?
Uh, like, why do you think it works? Because like you're both attracted to each other, or you found each other attractive throughout, like, throughout the friendship. Like, how would it be different than your other friendships with guy friends?
I think it either has to be you found each other attractive in the beginning, or like, but you're like, maybe just friendship until, and then you slowly develop feelings, or it's you something happens and you're like, actually, I think I find this person kind of attractive, or I think I do have feelings for this person.
So the basis of every rom com.
Yeah. Like, I think attraction is like not attraction just like physically attractive, but also just like emotionally, I guess, in this case, because it
Mm-hmm.
is like a friendship kind of thing. And it's like, oh, maybe like I think it's weird because it's like that could happen at any time, technically,
Exactly,
where
yeah.
you could suddenly, just an example here, don't hate me for this example, but you suddenly one day might wake up and be like, Prabby's actually like pretty good looking. Again, just an example.
Wow, he is a
And
good looking
you're,
guy.
yeah, he is a good looking guy, but also you're like, not only is he good looking, I think I'm attracted to him now.
Hmm, that'd be complicated.
If it's funny, the example is particularly funny to me because you guys would have such a toxic and abusive relationship, and fundamentally just like nothing about the two of you mesh in any way. And the fact that you're even friends is kind of like a wow, this is surprising.
Yeah. Um, personality aside, our respective personalities aside, I guess like what prevents like the female and male friendship from becoming a relationship? Like say like you and Jordan like started off friends, then became a relationship. Will Jordan now be threatened by every male friendship? He be like, "Oh my gosh, she's friends with this guy. This could potentially bloom into a friendship and then a romantic relationship."
And I think it's like okay, I think there's a lot of factors there. I think it's like how much do you trust the person that you're with? So for this example, how much does Jordan trust me, I guess, in how I deal with other males and other male friendships, and how strong, I guess, like the relationship is. But I know that like if I did start like texting someone, like another guy friend all the time, like he'd definitely be like suspicious about it kind of thing, where it's like cuz I guess like through my MBA, I did like a lot of my very close friends in my MBA program were male. And like Jordan was like not at one time was he ever like, ooh, this is like they were all Asian and
And Jordan was like, I'm a glassy white man. One will never fall for them."
a glassy white man. So I don't know if that maybe played a part into it where it's like, oh, like this is not Wanda's type at all. She is never going to leave me for an Asian man because it's just not her type. But if I started texting with like a Nicholas Holt type friend, he might be a little bit more like jealous, I guess, over it, and he might just be like questioning it a bit more. But also that it's like how much do you trust me and how much do you trust this relationship?
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess when you think about it, like if you have no trust in them, then really when your significant other is going out into the world, you literally live in fear every second of the day.
That's the thing. It's like if you ever were to be like, no, you cannot. I like have friends of the gender that you are attracted to. I think that's so wrong and very controlling, and it should never happen. But I think it's also your responsibility to set those boundaries with friends. Like one of the examples I think was really good is like who do you share your good news with? Like who is the first few people that you might tell, and like what is the order that you might like tell people? Like again, I know there's like some situations where it's like, oh, maybe this person helped me get this job, so I'm going to tell this person first or something because they helped me so much. But it's like if your significant other isn't in the top 5 or even the top 3, that's probably a little problematic.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Um, Nick brought up this thing today at lunch where he was like, "Have you noticed that when there's like a married couple, like the husband doesn't really have any like female friends, or like even after they have kids, like they don't really have like a lot of friends left."
Yeah. I I remember hearing something that was like, think about your dad when you were younger. Did he have a female best friend?
And I can honestly say no, but there were women who would flirt with my dad, and my mom was like super pissed with them, so that my dad knew
Like
not to talk to them.
I mean, that
Yes. Fair.
yes,
Like they'd
that is
call
a
the
good.
yeah, they'd call the house and they wouldn't even like say hi or like have a conversation with my mom. They'd be like, "Is Maggie's dad there?" My mom would be like, "What the hell?"
Ew,
Yeah.
that is not a friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't like, I think that's the other thing is like if you don't cut people out like that, then it's just like you
Yeah.
clearly just want their attention.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Um, but going back to the, I don't think that's a product of like being married or any. Like I don't think it's a male female type thing because I think it's just men slowly do not keep up with friends as they age and as you get married and maybe have more responsibilities and children and what other else, it just becomes way harder to make and keep friends. Like, isn't the gag that like you have to force your husband out on like friend dates or like to hang out with? Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think even in our relationship, Nick was like, "You meet up with your friends like a lot," and I was like, "We barely see each other. Like maybe like once or twice a month." And he was like, "That's way more than me and my friends see each other." So then over time, like my group of friends have become like Nick's default friends to hang out with too. And I'm like, nice. Now it's a mutual friend group. Um, but yeah, I
Okay.
think it's like a it's side note. I remember seeing this fresh off the boat scene where I think Jessica is kind of concerned because she thinks Lewis is cheating on her or something, or he has like a really hot friend. And
Mm-hmm.
Jessica is like, okay, you can be friends with her, but these are the things you like you cannot do. Like you have to set boundaries. Like you cannot share a meal, you can't go on a trip together. Like if you're driving her home, like she can't sit in the front seat. Like all these like little things. And like obviously it's a joke, but it's still like I wonder if it's like an old school mindset.
I mean, the show was like what, like the
Yeah.
1990s it was based in. Yeah, maybe. But also, it's like if you want to have, like, I think it was almost good that they had that conversation because they are talking about, like, hey, these are my boundaries
Mhm.
as the other person, I guess, that is not in the friendship. So I would prefer if you did not kind of like go over these. I mean, like, a lot of these are kind of ridiculous. Like, not the whole not going on a vacation together, fair. I think that's very fair. But the whole not sitting in the front seat, what is he, like a taxi driver?
Not sharing a meal together.
Yeah. And I like, what is sharing a meal? Like, if you're both eating off of the same plate with a spoon, I think that's a little weird. But I think if I did that with you, I'd also find it a bit weird.
Only desserts.
But then it's like, is that also no?
I don't
No,
think
we've
that's
done that
weird.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have shared desserts
Yeah.
before.
I think
Yeah.
sharing desserts with friends is perfectly fine. I don't think it's intimate.
What about sharing a meal?
I feel like that's really intimate because I personally don't like sharing my meals. Like, I'm hungry. I want to eat my food.
I think like we have friends who share meals together.
I'm sure we
Like if
do,
both
but
of
like,
them.
I personally like don't want it. Like, unless it's like a really big portion, then maybe.
Joey doesn't share food.
Appetizers are also different, but entrees.
Yeah, then it gets into like, maybe whatever. Maybe it's just like not sharing a meal is like sharing a meal together with a friend is like fine because maybe it's like you're not that hungry and there's too much nuance there, you know?
Yeah,
Like you have
okay,
to like,
fair. It's like too
because
many
then I start thinking
technicalities.
exactly, and I'm like, okay, but if it was like pasta, but if it was like
With
spaghetti, that's
sandwiches?
kind of weird. But like sandwiches, if they're cut in half,
Exactly,
like
then it's
that's not
okay.
bad.
Like a pizza, that's okay.
Yeah,
Spaghetti,
like
when
a
you do
pizza.
Lady in the Tramp style, not okay.
Yeah, like is a spaghetti more intimate than a penne?
100% it is. You can't
See,
win.
that is I think it's like when a boundary becomes like too situational, it becomes like okay, maybe this isn't a boundary because it's like there's too many variables.
But I also feel like if your wife was like, don't share a meal with someone, like that's where I draw the line. And you're like, well, technically, like we had penne, so like it's okay. Like we shared a meal, but it was a penne pasta. Then it's like, ooh, I think you're asking for a fight.
Yeah. But also if you're like, "Oh, babe, it was just an appetizer." Is that also starting a fight?
Oh, maybe. Like, yeah, we shared something. It's just nachos.
Yeah, everyone shares nachos, babe. Like it's a sports bar.
Everyone shares waters. It's totally fine.
I mean, I do share waters with Pravi because sometimes I just don't have enough water, so I don't share. I steal. So I just take his water and pour it into
And that's
mine.
perfectly acceptable. But I guess, like, growing up, did our moms ever have male friends?
Oh yeah, but I guess they were like male couples. Like it, it my mom has friends, but she's like more closer to the husband than the wife.
So when they hang, like, if they were to hang out, does she hang out with, like, the wife and the husband or just the husband?
No, I think they like it's all couples. Like it's you
Hmm.
always hang out. Well, I mean, she usually because my dad was always like busy at work or something. Like she would just hang out with the both of them. Like she
Mm.
wouldn't go like
Hmm.
one on one with someone else's like
Yeah.
husband unless it was like, oh, we're going to talk about careers, like how to prep you for this interview or something.
Mm. So, yeah, I almost feel like when you're married, then there is, like, the boundaries get more strict, then, right?
But it shouldn't be because what is marriage really?
Something that someone says before they go have an affair.
I was watching the first two episodes of Love is Blind. I've not finished the second one, but one of the questions was like, what do you see like life would be like after we get married? And so like I turned to Jordan and I was like, what do you think life would be like with me if after we got married? And then he like named like a whole bunch of things and I'm like, this is literally what we do now. And he's like, huh, yeah, nothing really changes.
And, like,
But
it
do you
shouldn't.
yeah, but the way that you make it sound is like it changes.
Well, not, I think, like, within the marriage, it doesn't change, maybe, but it's like externally things have changed. Like, now there's a ring on it. Now you have to, like, respect it more, I guess. Like, remember when you're talking about, like, well, I don't see a ring on that finger, or that kind of thing, where, like, so maybe in that essence, it's like I have to really respect, like, I will not hang out one on one with someone's wife or husband, like your mom wouldn't, except if it was like a career thing. Like, I don't think our parents would when they were together. I don't know. I just don't. I just do not see it. I don't see my mom when she was with my dad hanging out with another man one on one.
Ask her if she did.
I should.
Yeah. So Nick has female friends who he's like not that close with. Do you think that after you guys were to be married that he would stop hanging out with his female friends?
I sure hope not. I hope
Okay.
he
But
continues. I mean, he's, like, close with one female friend, but mostly because they also work together. So now that she's leaving, I don't know if, like, they will still continue to be close, but you never know.
so what do you think what do you think would change for you, I guess, if you were to get married?
I mean, I'm hoping nothing changes. Like, the friendships. What I'm saying is, like, this is just what it looks like in other marriages.
Ah, okay. Why
For me personally, I do not want that to happen.
what do you think happens, I guess, when other people get married? The whole like you just drop all your
I think, like, like, it's kind of a trope in TV where, like, they prefer to hang out with other couples instead,
yeah.
and, like, they
And
never
no, I
really
don't
hang
think
out
that's a
one on one.
trope.
I don't know, just what happens in, like, every, like, there's always an episode based off that
Hmm.
premise.
I think as you get into a couple, you just naturally just gravitate more towards other couples. Like I feel like a three on I was gonna say three on one, but it's a two on one date is like or not a date, where like you go out for dinner and it's like three of you. It's like it feels a little bit more unbalanced, I guess,
Yeah.
where it's like if you're on like an interviewing
Hmm.
like panel, but it's not one on one. It's like there's two interviewers and then there's you.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I
Interviews.
think it's completely
Okay.
fine.
Yeah, I think it depends on who, like, makes you comfortable and who doesn't.
I guess what point for you do you think crosses the line?
I don't know. I like everything you said, like the whole lying thing, the whole if they go to them first with good news. If they would rather, if every time I'm there and, like, neither of them kind of acknowledge me and I feel like I'm third wheeling, I feel like that would be my boundary too.
What if it was like a one-off situation? What if like every time else like they've super respected your relationship, but like as soon as you brought you, I guess in this situation, like if Nick and this girl were super close and she's always been super respectful of everything, always talked good about you, but then you join them for dinner and she like completely ices you out, tries to establish dominance over Nick and everything. Like what do you think that you would do?
Oh, that would be tough. I feel like because it's me, I'd give it like one more chance. And if I see it again, I'm like, I think I would tell Nick. I'd be like, I'm super uncomfortable hanging out with her.
Would you make Nick drop her as a friend?
Um, I think I might express that I'm uncomfortable with their friendship.
But you wouldn't tell him to. Like you wouldn't tell him what to do.
No, but I will make note of it if he continues to hang out with her a lot. I'd be like, interesting. I told you what made
Pepperidge
me
Farm.
uncomfortable.
But I mean, you didn't tell him
Yeah.
that you.
Mm-hmm. But it's like, uncomfortable here. That situation did happen, like similar to me and Nick. Like there was this like person that I was kind of friends with, but like not really. Like we'd hang out like once in a while, and then they were saying like things that were kind of making me uncomfortable, and I showed them to Nick too, and I was like, this is kind of weird. And then he expressed that he was very uncomfortable, and then that guy's friend like would try to hang out with me, and I'd be like, oh yeah, sure. Like, is it okay if like my boyfriend comes? You can meet him and everything. And then that person was like, oh, I don't really want a third wheel. Can I invite the original guy, like the guy who made me uncomfortable? And then Nick was like, no, I will literally pay you for me to not go. Not for me to not go, but for Nick. He was like, I'd rather pay to not go. So I don't want to go. And then he was like, are you going to go? And I was like, no, like that guy like made me very uncomfortable. Like I don't want to go. I don't want to be near him.
And then so you just didn't go.
Yeah. So I was like, no, sorry. I didn't want to say to that person, like, your friend is a weirdo and a pervert. So
Did
I
you
feel
ever
like I
go
should
with
have.
that
Person B.
friend that, yeah, that invited you?
No, because every time like we kind of try to hang out, he's always like, I'm gonna hit this person up, and I'm always like, ugh, do you not see a pattern here?
Right. Okay. So it's almost like you're not enough for him, I guess.
Yeah, like he either messages to hang out with me and Gabby, and then me and Gabby like don't want to be alone with him for some reason. We're always like, oh, let's see if Gabby's free, let's see if Maggie's free, or something like that. And then I guess he's kind of like, oh, let's see if person A is free. And I'm like, ugh,
Oh, okay.
stop it.
But yet somehow your boyfriend is like not enough of a person to be considered like
Yes.
a.
Yeah. It's a weird thing.
That
So
is.
so now we just like kind of don't talk, and our friendship has, well, we weren't really like close friends. We're just like
Mhm.
acquaintances. And we're like, let's catch up. Let's not catch up because person A kind of like harassed me and then also like harassed Gabby too. So it's a weird
Yikes.
period.
So, but Nick never explicitly told you, be like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be friends, or, yeah. So he kind of just like, he was just like, I don't want to go.
Yeah. He was like, I don't want to go. But I think he was like strongly hinting at me to not go. Like he was
Ah,
just
okay.
like saying how like super uncomfortable he was with this whole thing.
Yeah. It's funny though, because he was like, yeah, how much do I have to pay for me to not go,
Yeah.
leaving you alone in this situation
Yeah,
with
he
someone who,
was like harassing me.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's really funny. Do you think you would do something similar if the situation was reversed?
I think so. I don't want to like tell him what to do because like I'm not his mother, and also like I don't know. I don't want to put that on him. But I respect him for that. I'm almost like you should have just told me not to do it. Then it'd just be like easier instead of these mind games. They're not mind games, but like, you know what I mean?
Hmm. Do you think you would have respected him less if he told you?
Yeah, probably. He was like, "Don't do this." I'm like, "You can't tell me what to do. What is this?"
So there was no situation where he could have won.
Yeah, pretty much. I think he did the right thing though.
Yeah. I think so too. I think
Mhm.
it's like it's hard in that situation because it's like you don't want to be the person that explicitly says like, "Hey, I don't want you to hang out with this person or don't want you to hang out with like these people kind of thing, but you also want your partner to be safe
Yeah.
and make good choices. So,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I want to get your thoughts on something. So let's say hypothetically there was a person that your partner is like kind of close with, like kind of like pretty like friends, all throughout like university and stuff. And at one point, this friend of your partner's, before you ever started dating or whatever, like raised their voice like very aggressively at your future partner who you were also friends with at that time for like no reason at all, just because they were like very very like I guess like annoyed or like pissed off or something, and like really raised their voice. Would you say anything?
Wait, was this person a boy or a girl?
They're both guys
Hmm.
and you are a female.
um, and you were present.
Yeah, no, so they, okay, let's call your, let's say there is friend A, who is your future partner, and then there is their friend B, and then you are person C. So person B raised their voice at you, person C, for I guess maybe like annoying them about something, or just like not enough in a way that was like warranted, but really raised their voice at you,
Hmm.
person C. But then person A, your future partner, continues to be friends with him and didn't really say anything in the moment about it. But afterwards was like, hey, that was kind of shitty that that happened. Do you think your partner should stay friends with person B?
Hmm. Were they close friends in the first place?
They were like yeah, they've known each other for a couple of years. They've been like they're not like super super tight, but they're like friends. They're like good friends.
Hmm. I'm would be kind of annoyed that they didn't call them out on the spot
Mm-hmm.
because like they were there too. They were just bystanding. Um, I'd be kind of irked about it, and the fact that they continued being friends. I know I can't help it, but I'd be a little bit irked. I'd be like, you're still gonna be nice to this person who like raised their voice at me and was like rude to me. Hmm. Interesting. I mean, if it was like a one off, I don't know if I should hold it against them, but because it's like me and I take things personally, I will never forget. I will maybe
Mm-hmm.
forgive in like another 5 years, but I will never forget.
Yeah. It. What do you think they should have done in that situation?
I think they should have been like,
As
whoa, like calm down, like it's not a big deal,
Mhm.
or like kind of
Yeah.
defuse the situation in a way. Because like
Yeah.
I wouldn't like it if like someone yelled at you or like I don't know,
Or I
anyone yelled
yelled
at
at
anyone.
Nick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever really a situation where you should like, unless you're actively in a fight or something,
Yeah.
that you should be yelling at someone.
Yeah. If person C is like consistently rude to person B is consistently rude to person C, and person A and C are together now, I think that is grounds for person A to not be acquainted with person B. Like,
Yeah.
everyone should cut them out.
Yeah. But then what if it was just like a one-off situation?
I feel like that's so weird to just raise your voice randomly, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
especially because, like, I don't like when people yell at me, so, like, if you yelled at me even, like, once, I'd be like, whoa, I need a year to recover. Mm,
Yeah.
mm, I guess if I know to be the bigger person, I should be like, okay, whatever, it's fine. Heat of the moment. But I would be annoyed if they were very close,
But like how close is very close?
like best friends.
No, not best friend, just like friends.
Like good terms.
Good terms. Still good
Mm.
terms.
And person C
Don't
and person B are not good terms.
they're not like I think so basically this happened to me
I
in
figured.
yeah, But I didn't want to like give like because I feel like when I add myself to the situation, it might be a little bit different, and like you might be more biased because you. But I mean,
Like I
again,
knew
the implication.
already.
Yeah. Yeah. So this happened to me in fifth year when this person that like I've also known since first year, person B, I've known person A.
Oh, they were
Person
being
A
oopsie.
no, person B I've known since like first year. And I've been
Hmm.
like maybe minor acquaintances with them. Like they hung out with the same people that like I would hang out with, but we didn't always like really hang out. Um and then like I think I was like saying something like I just like I so I said my 23 and me was like, "Oh, I'm actually like 4.6% Japanese, so I have like a valid opinion about something something something." And I think like because of that he got like really pissed off and he like raised his voice at me, and Jordan was there and Jordan didn't say anything until afterwards where I was like that was kind of weird and he was like yeah like he shouldn't have done that and I'm like but you didn't say anything and he still like they still continued kind of to be like friends and stuff throughout like we weren't together at that time but now like whenever this guy person B messages Jordan on Discord or whatever to like follow up with him and just like they don't like hang out at all anymore but they do kind of like like they'll message like here and there I'm like do you remember that situation or that time when he like really raised his voice at me and I'm like I can't believe you still hang like you still talk to this person but am I right to be to say that or am I just being petty and I should forgive and forget?
I think the right answer is to forgive and forget, but also I would also be petty to be like, you still hang out with them even though you knew that was the wrong move to do, and even though we are together now, you're still gonna be like close friends with them.
Not that close. They like message once in a while.
As long as they don't do anything to make that friendship closer,
Yeah. Yeah,
that
I
would
feel like
be an
if it
issue.
was like if they ever initiated a hangout, I'd be like, so you're gonna hang out with someone who once yelled at me?
Mm. Why would he yell at you about your 23 and Me thing? Is he Japanese? Did he take
No.
offense? He's a white
No,
man?
he's white. Yeah.
Unwarranted.
Yeah. I don't know what I
It's a
don't
hate
know.
crime.
I forget like I was kind of being annoying. Like I'll give you that, but I'm always annoying.
Still
So
not warranted.
yeah, I don't think it's like that. That was like very out. It was like very out of the blue,
Did
and then it
they
also like really made me think about how he is behind closed doors.
did he apologize or never acknowledged it?
No, he never
Mm,
acknowledged it.
that's the part
Yeah,
that would get me mad. And for that,
yeah,
I would never forgive them if they never apologized.
yeah. Like he kind of just like no one like kind of ever mentioned it again. Like I'm the only person that keeps mentioning it to Jordan. Like he never apologized. He never addressed the situation. He basically just acted like it never happened.
No, I think you're every right to
Okay.
not forgive and not forget.
Thanks for justifying my toxic action.
And I think Jordan should kind of take your side here on this too. Not to
Yeah.
be like full out Team Wanda, but I'm like, I know he likes to be the golden retriever, but in this situation, he must choose.
Yeah. I think he just like doesn't really like go towards conflict.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I address conflict head on, but I feel like if that like if I wasn't out like if I was there in the situation and I wasn't the person like that they raised their voice to, I would probably would have been like, "Hey man, like that's not cool."
Yeah. I think that all of my friends would probably do the same. I
Yeah.
think the only person who is likely to yell at me is Pravi.
Unlikely or
No, most
likely?
likely.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say yeah.
But even when he yells, it's kind of like no, actually, even if he were to yell, it's like very out of character too. I don't think he's like a yeller. He's just a snippy person.
Yes. And I think it's like you really have to work him up.
Yeah.
You can tell when he's about to blow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't
that's
like
interesting. He is like that type of person, but it's like I never when he does it, like I never get offended.
yeah. But I like again, he doesn't really like yell. Like he raises his voice when he's like arguing and making a point, but not like
Yeah.
yelling. And I don't think like
Yeah.
any of our friends like yell.
Yeah. I think that's the difference. I think it's like he raises his voice when he's arguing something and it's like very heat and in the moment. And it's like, okay, like, yes, he could chill too. But I think in this, it was like because it wasn't an argument of any sort, it was just like kind of like a conversation where it's like you could tell that this was like really like pissing this person off, but like only internally until it came out externally.
Mm, sus.
Yeah.
And
Context matters, I
yeah,
guess.
the fact that they never apologize is like, ugh. Are you like this to all women?
Yeah, he's been with his girlfriend for a very long time. So it always like that moment really makes me think about the relationship.
Hmm. I mean, maybe we could be blowing it up because it was a one-time thing, but I'm like, I don't want to keep excusing things as a one-time thing, you know?
Yeah, that's actually such a good point where it's like, yeah, okay, it only happened one time. It's not really a pattern, but like I don't really have the context to know that it's not a pattern.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it and people should be still responsible for their actions even if it happened one time. Like having an affair. One time is still bad. You
Mm-hmm.
should still take responsibility for that.
Mm-hmm. I like to think that if we were to yell, it would be very, very out of character. And like, if you yelled at me, I would expect an apology,
Oh, yeah.
and vice versa.
Yeah. I can't imagine myself ever yelling at you.
Me neither.
And I feel like I like sometimes like I feel like when I talk, like I do raise my voice, like where I'm just like if I'm like more heated and stuff, but I always like apologize afterwards if it was something that was like warrants apology for like, oh, like yeah, I'm sorry for speaking to you in that way.
If you have good communication and you're a stable person, you will most likely not yell to your friends.
Yeah. Family's different.
Yeah, family's different.
Partly stable. um Going back to the whole being friends with people that to the gender that you might be attracted to. Any closing thoughts on this topic?
Yes, you can be friends, but also no, sometimes. Set your boundaries and play within
Okay, thank you, Ontario Lottery Association. For context, their motto is know your limits and play within it.
it.
Yeah. I think my closing statement is going to be if you think that if you're a man and you don't think that you can be friends with a woman, maybe it's because you're misogynistic and not because of any other reason. Well, thanks for listening to another episode. Go follow us on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, and go like us and listen to us wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And join us next Thursday for another episode of Apologetically Me.
Bye.
Bye.